frame, Judd Trump.
Great to see from top snooker once again in 2023. Judd Trump, wow, what a performance from him in his first match, 3-0 winner. The match on the other table, Gary Wilson and Robert Milkins hadn't completed their first frame by the time that Judd Trump dispatched Mickey Walden.
Well, of course, a lot of history between these two, a lot of big matches. The most recent, as Selby takes that long red on, was this season at the Champion semi-finals. Trump won 6-3. But if you count every single match they've played, big and small, Trump has the edge 18-16, so it's very, very tight. And well, what a great shot that is, getting everything into play. I guess the advantage he's got is he's carrying on from the first match. Selby obviously is used to conditions here, having played for 2 days, but Trump, I'm sure, delighted just to stay on the table and continue, he hopes, where he left off against Walden.
It's great practice for some of these top players ahead of the Masters, which begins on Sunday. Famous Ali Pali. Great chance for some of these players just to sharpen their claws, so to speak.
Yeah, because obviously you can arrange practice with players in your own time, but this is different because these are matches in a proper professional tournament with stakes and prize money and all the rest of it. So it feels more like the match environment you're going to be playing in the Masters, without the 2,500 people in the audience, but it's a proper game of snooker, this. And I mentioned earlier that when Trump won this event for the first time when he was only 19, he beat Selby in the final
12
down at Crondon Park, 3-2. That was his real breakthrough before he then went on to start winning the big tournaments. Mark Selby, of course, not far to travel for him back today. I'm sure he would have been, if he hadn't been in this, he would have been practicing anyway.
$18, $19.
Judd Trump. Oh, well, we're just going to have a quick peek over on the other table, table 2. Gary Wilson started that match extremely well against Robert Milkins. The first frame seemed to go on forever and ever. Robert Milkins couldn't get the snooker that he needed.
26.
Gary Wilson won it on the blue, pink and black, and here he is in frame 2,
96.
about to, what he hopes, make a century break.
27.
97.
Yeah, it's great to see Gary break through and win that tournament in Edinburgh. It's been a long time coming really for him. He was on that list of players yet to win one who you thought could do, and he did do. And he played terrifically well. So he's made the century, and he can set the high break target. Of course, there is £500 for the high break. There's still 35 points on the table there. As Judd Trump continues to run amok on table 1.
29. $30.
Could play a delicate cannon into the 2 reds here. Matched it beautifully. Judd Trump's a fascinating player. He's the only player I can really say that
37.
almost plays snooker the way a 9-ball pool player plays pool. Because
38.
what Judd does more than any other player, he takes the first opportunity to go into the pack of reds and get everything spread out far and wide. And then from then on, of course, with reds in play, break building becomes a lot easier.
43.
And of course, he did play some 9-ball pool not so long ago. Matchroom Multisport, the leading promoters of 9-ball pool.
44.
A full calendar for this year, but for the moment he's sticking with snooker full time. I can tell you that Gary Wilson on table 2 has cleared up with a 138. That's a good target for the high break prize.
49.
2-0 to him against Robert Milkins.
50.
Yes, Rob Milkins finished 5th in the previous group, so managed to just cling on to his hopes of gaining a place in the Champions Group by winning one of these groups. Looking forward to Robert Milkins taking
57.
on his good friend and local rival, Chap
58.
Lizowski. Cheltenham in a couple of weeks from now. But meanwhile, Judd Trump here on table 1 just needs one more red to secure frame 1 here.
65.
Well, he really has hit the ground running, hasn't he, in his 4 frames so far. Looking
66.
like he's been out there for a week, playing terrific stuff from Trump. Now looking to make what will be his 2nd century of the morning. Frame should be done. He's a couple of snookers needed, so he wants this in just to keep Selby at bay, because Selby will certainly come back. Yeah, it was in immediately. Yeah, this is a proper heavyweight clash, as I say. World number 2 Selby against world number 4
72.
Trump.
$73.
Just to let you all know, the game is not easy. It just looks it when guys like this are playing.
The biggest difference with the top stars,
80.
not only are they great tacticians and great potters, just make few mistakes positionally.
Well, in the end it wasn't a century, but it was a fine 80.
80.
Judd Trump has
And
played
first frame.
4-1-4 in terms of frames this morning. He already leads Mark Selby 1-0. Mark Selby didn't get much look in the first frame, but you know what his attitude always is. Just give me a chance, whatever the position in the
His
match.
2nd frame, Mark Selby to break.
He's observed, though, because he'd been watching backstage how well Trump is playing so far, not just in the first frame here with his 80 break, but in a match 1 as well against Walden, which lasted just 30 minutes.
Maybe an opportunity here for Judd. This red to the left corner can take the cue ball around the back of the black and to safety. Oh, but just decelerated a fraction there. Very little pace in that shot. Suggests to me Judd is brimful of confidence, because I think he actually played for the blue and bulk colours there. Such is his confidence, and that's not easy to do when you're playing somebody like Mark Selby, one of the game's greatest players. Actually risk leaving the cue ball in the middle of the table there, and it could be costly now if he's missed the red. It's Mark's first decent opportunity to get a feel of the conditions, although been played in the previous group. Have a good idea of the way the tables are playing. Mark Selby's seen all this before, though, from Judd Trump. Won't perturb him in the slightest. Great performance in frame 1 by Judd. Selby more than capable of a reply.
Six.
Played for the black there. It's a choice of reds just above the black spot to play for into the left corner.
Selby
13.
himself, of course, is back in the winner's circle. He won the English Open shortly before Christmas, so he's feeling good in general. He said he hadn't played at all since winning that tournament a couple of weeks before Christmas, or in fact a week before,
14.
and then coming here yesterday, had a break in Dubai with the family. It had been quite a difficult year in many ways, and absolutely deserved to have a bit of time off. Still got to the semis despite all of that, and very nearly got to the final.
19.
He led
20.
Karen Wilson 2-1 in their semi-final. Karen Wilson finished off with back-to-back centuries. He'd already made one, so he actually had 3 in the match. So that's what was required to beat Selby. We now know he will play Hassan Vafai at the Masters. That's been confirmed today. With Xiaoxing Tong
27.
suspension, Vafai will make his debut against Selby on Sunday night.
28.
Good thinking, I feel, from Mark Selby, playing the pink to the left centre, because his plan now will be to roll this red to the left corner, leave himself fairly parallel on the black, to then stun into that little group of reds and the pink, knowing that that loose red just above the black is something he'll feel that he's almost guaranteed to be on.
34.
And with the pink there, it may not be the case anymore. Could consider
35.
rethinking this. He may well play for the loose red now that that pink doesn't respot. So purposely leave himself low on the red, so that in potting it, he
42.
can just flick a couple of reds into play.
$43.
I think he was pretty confident of being on the blue. Wasn't easy to get the right side of it, but shouldn't be a problem.
$48.
So he's got really all the pieces in play here to win this frame. That's the one way to stop Trump when he's in the mood he's in. Pot everything yourself. Keep him in his seat.
$49.
Always had that slight bit of lateral head movement, Mark Selby, whilst queuing up on the shot. Something he's tried to eradicate but never has done.
Yes, it's not as pronounced, is it, as it used to be, but like you say, it is still
54.
there, still visible.
$55.
What he knows now, he didn't know yesterday, was that there's a high break prize, because there was a frame where he could have beaten, at the time it was 127, Matt Selt, and he was on 121 with the last black. He left the last black, sat down, and then it suddenly occurred to him, he asked the referee, is there a high break prize? And Rob Spencer said, yes there is. What is it? 128, sorry, 127, so he could have beaten it.
62.
But in terms of this frame, he's not won it yet. That's gone wrong, and there's still 75 on.
Yeah, just needed one good positional shot there, and it wasn't easy from the position he had on the black. Just to mention, the highest break made
Mark
in any
Selby,
group carries a break
62.
prize of £500, so certainly worth to achieve the highest break in the group.
It was funny though, because when he found out he was that there was a prize and he could have potted the black to potentially win it, he said, what is the prize? 20 grand. So it's not quite that much, it's 500 quid, but worth having. In the end, it was beaten anyway.
Mark Selby needs to be very careful here. Judd has just played the safety shot and brought the awkward red into play. 62 points lead that Selby has managed to accrue could soon disappear with a mistake. Still plenty left on for Judd. There are 75 remaining, so plenty of points to play with.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always about the points on the board, it's about where the balls are on the table. And Selby doesn't really have much or any security here. Oh, Trump knocks that one in.
One.
Well, decision time now. He's 61 points behind. There are 67 that still remain. Doesn't necessarily have to take on a difficult pot here to continue the break. He's gone for the brown, and it's gone in. And we're playing for the red that's on the black spot. That would give Judd the opportunity to bring the black into play, because he wouldn't want to pot the black at the moment because it'd be tied up. Because the red near the black spot isn't quite occupying it.
6.
Well, the first red he potted was great, but there was an element of safety in it, of course. The brown was all or nothing. Superb pot to the middle, and what a chance now to steal this frame. Just underline how well he's playing here.
12.
Just doing some quick arithmetic here. Judd doesn't really need to worry about the black at all. 4 reds and 4 pinks suffice, and he could just try and trundle that black along the cushion as frame winning ball, should he get that far, of course. Just wondering now whether we do have a new favourite for this second frame. Rather be in Judd's position.
$13. $18. 19. 25. 26.
Just feels like it's going to come down to the last black, doesn't it? You expect Trump to get down to it from here.
Just landed fractionally awkwardly on this remaining red. He's going to be slightly hampered here by the pink. Jack the cue butt in the air, strike downwards. Just about
33.
managed to get the amount of backspin required. In fact, he's landed perfectly on the pink. 33, chance of a frame winning 66 here to steal this frame. Key shot though will be playing
39.
from blue to pink, and Mark Selby there knows it. The black's are near its own cushion.
41.
Critical. Judd gets the correct angle on the pink to play for it.
$44.
Got to be said, when Selby's 62 in front against anyone, you fancy him to win the frame. But Trump got in with a great red, then potted a terrific brown as well. Set his stall out to try and win the frame.
53.
Oh, he's just that very nicely, but he'll probably have to play for the black into the same pocket as the pink, so it'll have an extra couple of inches to travel.
59.
Well, as we said, it always seemed likely to come down to this shot. This is to steal the frame and to lead Mark Selby 2-0. That's a terrific clearance from Judd Trump, 66. He is playing some great stuff this morning. He leads Mark Selby 2-0. Judd Trump has played 5 frames this morning and won all 5, and that last one I suspect the most satisfying, because it wasn't just one visit, it was from behind against Mark Selby, 62-0 down, got in with a great red, great brown, all the way to the black, which is just off the top cushion, which he knocked in. 2-0, so just a lightning fast start. We've only really been going an hour here, and as I say, he's won 3-0 against Ricky Walden, and he's 2-0 up against Mark Selby. Table 2, by the way, it's still 2-0 to Gary Wilson against Robert Milkins.
Although that red was possible to the left corner, Mark Selby would have been able to avoid the cannon on the black with the cue ball, so had to refuse it. Safety from Judd. The red again is possible to the left corner, but a lot Mark Selby can do positionally from it. Well, there was a chance by forcing it in at that sort of pace he could have got the cue ball back up for the blue. 2-0 down. Lost the last frame the way he did, having had that 62-point advantage. Guess Mark Selby will probably chance his arm a little. Well, Judd saw that there was a plant there, I didn't. There was a lot of distance between the two balls, but it just goes to show when a player is brimful of confidence, the difference in their play is extraordinary.
Well, he's just bullied that into the pocket, hasn't he? I mean, he was going in one way or another. Incredible, really.
I mean, Judd, as I do, I've played him so many times now, he'd love to have that black back on its spot. He's having a look at it now. If he feels that the red that's to the right of the black spot won't prevent the black from potting, he could play for it next. Now, Judd, a natural left-hander, can play fairly handily with his opposite hand. He has played for the black, and he's on it very nicely. That's a very nicely controlled shot. If anything, it's too good. There's no angle to work with here. Well, if he can't do anything about getting that cue ball out from the cushion, all that Judd can do is leave himself a chance at a red in such a way that position to a colour will be a natural process. So that's what he's done. He's screwed back the red above the black spot. He knows that he'll nudge off the red above
14.
it, and he should be on the black to the right corner if he plays it well.
$15.
I don't think he envisaged the cue ball running in behind. Red to the left of the black. So a little unfortunate. He's just having a look to see if the pink's available. It's a bonus if it is.
He might be forced into doing something he's not really done so far, play a safety shot. Well, he's had another look at the pink.
Pink
I'm
pot.
not sure. This pot's though, I think it's just a safety. Yeah.
Judd Trump, 15.
Putting the pressure on Selby, who knows that Trump, the mood he's in, just needs one more chance potentially to win this match.
And that was deceptively clever from Judd. He could have played a safety of any colour there really, bar the black, but chose to clip off the pink and bring the pink into play. Again, everything that Judd Trump does is attacking. He thinks like champion does. And if he gets an opportunity, he wants everything set out fair for him to make a frame winning break at every opportunity. It's the one thing, if you do have the reds set out the way they are here, all over the table, it puts pressure on both players to make sure that their safety play is very exacting, and that one wasn't. Great chance here for Mark Selby. There's barely a ball safe.
He knows he's going to have to make the most of it.
One.
Well, it's not finished great, but first shot really.
Just needed one good positional shot there. He's very unlucky really not to be on the pink to the right centre, hampered by the red behind the cue ball, so 4 to play the black with the rest. Now, don't need me to say that this really does need to go in.
Well, it looked like it was in,
Max Selby.
but it's not. I think he felt it was.
And this is what pressure does to you. If you're playing a top player and you don't put them under pressure, you're in for a tough time. And Judd Trump has put Mark Selby, of course, again, one of the game's top players, one of the game's great players. But Mark Selby there is under pressure, 2-0 behind. Judd Trump looking like he's barely going to miss a ball when he gets in. And that little bit of extra pressure that's created,
7.
force an error like that.
I think that black would have dropped on some tables this season, but because this is a different make, this Rasson table, and anyway, it didn't, and now it's help yourself time for Trump.
$15. $16. $23. $24. $31. $32.
So motoring on towards a second whitewash. The second frame was the big one, of course, the way he cleared up there. He's really not put a foot wrong, has he, this morning? It's been very impressive from Trump. Not only winning, but winning 2 matches 3-0, as seems likely now to storm to the top of the table.
39.
We'll see him again at 4:30 UK time against Gary Wilson. He plays Matt Selt later on table 2 as well, so he can have qualification wrapped up after day 1. The way he's playing, it seems likely. We'll see, though. Things can change, of course, with the quality of the field we've got here, but this has been a first-rate display from Trump. Every chance he's got, he's pounced on. He's either forced his way in or he's taken advantage of a miss like that from Selby. And this black, and it's going to be 3-0. The second match running for Judd Trump.
$52. 53.
Well, this match is certainly won now by Judd Trump.
59.
Selby won't be returning to the table, but can Judd make a century, I wonder, here?
60.
Quite get the right side of the black, so I'll need a Judd Trump special here to keep the break going.
Yeah, there's a lot of balls in the way, isn't there, going around the table, but the damage has been done. He beat Ricky Walden 3-0. He's beaten Mark Selby 3-0 also.
67 the frame and the match.
67 the break in the last frame. So he's barely broken sweat, it seems. An hour and 10 minutes for 2 3-0 wins. Judd Trump